Hello, everyone. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So I want to talk about destroying the reputation of good men and MGTOW, because this is a critical aspect of what's going on right now. This is the main tactic of the feminist, of the leftist, of the mangina cuck, of the blue pill simp. This is not a physical confrontation. This is a reputation attack, a moral and ethical attack on the character of good men. And the good men are restrained from using this tactic because that is what, that is one of the main things that defines a good man, that you don't slander other people. And we've had a lot of activity here in MGTOW lately where good men, good channels have been destroyed by the tactics of mangina blue pill simps, who've little bitches, essentially, little guys who've come here into MGTOW, said that they wanted to be a part of MGTOW, and then used these typical feminist tactics that are destroying men all throughout Western civilization, that are destroying the merit-based dominance hierarchies within Western civilization, that are literally tearing the bonds of our world apart. These are the tactics, okay? And I'm sorry. I'm sorry we couldn't see it coming. I'm sorry that we couldn't head it off at the pass. I'm sorry that we were unable to nip it in the bud, okay? But we can see it now. We can analyze it now a little better. And maybe next time we can avoid some of the damage. We can catch it sooner. So that's what I want to talk about, and that's why it's important. But before I get into it, let me just say thank you to everybody who's been stopping by, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, even donating. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please consider clicking on the subscribe button. And even if you are subscribed, please click on the bell symbol next to the subscribe button and accept the email notifications, because YouTube is taking people off of the notification list of channels that they want to discourage. What it means is that YouTube is routinely taking people off of the notification list. That's what it means. So please click on the bell symbol. I would really appreciate it. It would really help out the Howard Dare channel. And it doesn't cost you anything, right? This content, one of the greatest parts about producing content on YouTube, online, social media, is that it doesn't cost anything to you, the end consumer. Yeah, there might be some advertisements in it. Yeah, there might be a call to action in it. Yeah, there might be an advertisement for my new ebook or something along those lines. So what? 90% of the content, it's absolutely free. And it's free, it's free of the propaganda of the mainstream media. It's not completely free of bias and, points of view, but they are yours to filter out, okay, as opposed to the mainstream media presentation, which says it's coming to you as a neutral, egalitarian-like presentation, and it's not. This is the power of the dark side. This is the seductive power of being part of the group, of going along with the status quo. This is why 80% of the people, and I'm just putting that number out there, that's why they go along. They have to. And women and children and elderly people and people who are dependents, again, they have no choice. This is why your independence as a MGTOW man is so important, okay? This is why the attack on the merit-based good men of Western civilization who have to go MGTOW because the system is so corrupt that it's destroying them. This is why the message is so important. Now, this is a huge responsibility. This is a huge step up. This is a huge disappointment. This really is all of the hopes and the dreams of the blue pill simp man essentially being, let go and said goodbye to, and recognizing what a fool he's been, for playing along with a kind of Disney fantasy princess fairy tale, where he's going to be the big man and the champion. I mean, I don't even have the heart to go after, the pickup artists and the super studs that come in here and try to tell me about how great they are. What we're talking about today is how the blue pill simp man, the cuck, the broken man, the man who's given up, the man who says, oh, there's no reason to even get up and try to, have a good day and to have a good life because the whole world is against me and I'm MGTOW. Bullshit, okay? You're a quitter is what you are. Okay, MGTOW is for the man who's going away from a corrupt system and going towards a fair and open system where he has meaning and purpose in his life, where he is the driving force in his life, where his happiness is the most important thing in his life. And he is a productive man based on reason. Hey, could be a woman too, right? It doesn't, a person going their own way. It doesn't have to be men, but it is men who are being exploited by this gynocentric system. And what we're talking about now is the young blue pill simpish man who wants to impress the gynocracy, who wants to impress the blue pill world, who wants to be part of the group, who is not ready to step up to the challenge of going his own way. It's not just going your own way in defiance. It's recognizing that you've gone along with a system that was corrupt. The other side of that is the honest, hardworking man who puts his work out into the world and then tries to earn his way in the world, tries to exchange something valuable for, value back. And if people don't exchange value back, then he changes it and he builds it into something else. So that's the challenge. That's what's going on. Adapting to the marketplace and giving value to other people so that they will then give value to you. This is the occupation of a man. This is the occupation of a woke person. This is your responsibility. You can understand why children can't see it, because that's not their responsibility. You can understand why an entitled young adult who is being initiated into a blue pill world and college debt, lifetime debt, is not only not able to see it, is strongly discouraged from seeing it. The system is essentially run by large moneyed interests, corporations, and they control your local governments. And through advertisement, media, they try to control the people. This is why the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, wins, in the big cities because of the media concentration. And yet throughout the rest of the country, she loses. What I'm talking about here is the solidarity of the group that is not based on principle, that is not MGTOW. They are just part of the group to be part of the group. It's not the worst thing in the world either. It's where, children come from. Well, it's not exactly. Yeah, that's another video. Sorry about that. It's the environment where the dependents are raised. And if they stay in that world, the mother's world essentially, they become more and more entitled. And understand that their tactic, and this is what I want you to recognize as to what happened here in MGTOW since the first of the year. Their tactic is to find fault, is to say, that person's no good, that person's a shill, that person's used the wrong word, that person doesn't respect transsexuals, that person is alt-right. So they just throw out these insults and labels. It's insults. It's attacking the person's reputation, okay? In other words, they come onto the team with Michael Jordan, and the way to compete with Michael Jordan is to go out onto the floor and to shoot baskets with him, okay? Is to play ball. But they can't. So they go behind and they slander the man's reputation. And they say, he didn't go to church on Sunday. He didn't keep his eyes closed during the Lord's Prayer. He's only doing it for the money. He has no loyalty to the team, right? So some towel boy, some water boy who's working there for free, you know what I mean, stands up and says, I'm the true basketball great because I do it all for free. And Michael Jordan, he's no good because he only does it for the money. This is the quintessential attack from the below average, from those without skills, against those with merit and ability. This is the expression of envy, of resentment, and it's expressed by attacking people's reputations behind their back, by representing the virtues, like, oh, he's a great basketball player, or he's a great fighter, or he never quits, as negative qualities. He's only doing it for the money. He's a shill. He's psychopathic about his competition. He's too arrogant. And if you'll be honest about it, at least this is what Nietzsche was suggesting, is that this is what Christianity did towards classical Roman and Greek virtues and values, and that the modern world had lost a great deal in praising things like forgiveness, right? Like we used to just call it weakness. Now we call it humility. So it's taking all of the virtues of accomplishment and achievement and merit, and since they 80% can't compete at that level, they undermine the value of it. Do you understand? This is really important if you want to be an accomplished man in this world, and you think that you're just going to work with your friends and people are going to like cooperate with you and people are going to like help you out and stuff like that. No, it's not going to work like that. 80% of the people are going to resent you, envy you, undercut you. And these are people right in your own world, right? These are other guys who call themselves MGTOW. They're not in deeds, not in expressions. This is why, and this type of tactic, it's a backroom hidden deal. You know what I mean? Like you can't publicly come out and say, yeah, this is what we're for. This is what we represent, because you're representing virtue as vice. And people won't accept that. But deep down, in places that they don't want to admit, yeah, sure, they'll go there. In other words, the most successful person among the group of malcontents is the person that they're attacking. It's amazing when somebody without even a high school education is telling me what an idiot Trump is and how pointless, supporting any aspect of government is. And it's like, well, we are on this lifeboat, and this lifeboat is sinking, and one set of actions helps the lifeboat, and another set of actions hurts the lifeboat. And we've been engaging in behavior and actions that hurt the lifeboat for the last 50 years. So I'm perfectly willing to try actions that seem to help the lifeboat. And the person's like, you're an idiot. You don't recognize that we shouldn't even be in a lifeboat. And it's like, well, actually, I do recognize that, but we are where we are. This is the situation. See, when people make abstractions, and this is great, right? They forget that they're abstracting things that are in the real world. Alexa, what time is it? Or to put it to you a simpler way. So I hope that this offers some insight, as to what drives this behavior. Okay, and don't think for a second that these little bitches have legitimate complaints. They don't. They are using this system, this process of finding fault with others simply to control the situation. There's no merit to their accusations. Okay, when they say Michael Jordan's in it only for the money, and if he really loved basketball, he'd play for free. When they say that, okay, they don't really love basketball. Okay, they don't care about basketball. They're stuck inside of their own feelings. So they will tear Michael Jordan down and they'll never make a single shot. It's their insecurity that's driving them. That's why they are not accomplished. So we have a lot of young, broken men, older men who will come into MGTOW and will say, this is great. I am MGTOW. I agree with these principles. And then when they are alone with a couple of other guys, they will say, that guy over there, he's a shill. He's only in it for the money. They won't compete. They won't produce content. They won't offer their views. See, the only moral, ethical thing for you to do is to produce your own point of view. Like, you can't tell other men what they're allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say. As long as they're not breaking the law, as long as they're not hurting anybody, they're free to say what they want to say. They can like whatever flavor ice cream that they like. So when another man stands up and says, oh, you're not allowed to support Trump, he's really saying something vastly different from you're not allowed to support Trump. What he's saying is you're not allowed to have your own opinions, your own freedom of thought. You have to do what I say or there's going to be trouble. That's not the way for you to go as a MGTOW man. That's the way of a little bitch. That's the feminist tactic. What you need to do at that point is to say, well, I'm going to make a video that talks about why Hillary Clinton was the ideal choice, right? You go ahead, you do that, little bitch. See, you can't do that. So their complaints, they're not legitimate complaints. They're not legitimate concerns. They're just expressions of their own envy and weakness and an unwillingness to compete in an open market. Now, it's not easy, right? And you're not competing. In other words, when you go out onto the court, you're not competing with Michael Jordan. You're competing with the people who are trying out to get on the team on the lowest level. So it's this narcissistic attitude of entitlement that we see from the left being expressed through 80% of the population. And that even means some of the guys coming here into MGTOW. And this is what they do. They trade in reputations. This is why they don't produce content. This is why they hide in little back rooms. This is why they have little hangouts. But eventually they turn on themselves as well. You know what I mean? Like after they've turned on everybody who trusted them, after they betray whatever trust they have gotten by pretending to be part of the group, they then, become smaller and smaller and more isolated until they all attack each other. But they can cause great damage along the way. So I think that's part of what happened. I think that's part of what is happening right now within our society, within our culture. And I think if you can be aware of it, I think it might be able to help you to avoid falling into that trap. And I don't expect everybody listening to this to be able to go their own way. They are part of a group, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't stay there forever, and you shouldn't use it to attack the people who are going their own way, who are starting their own businesses, who are plotting their own course and then building their own way. But you understand that that type of a person represents a threat to their ego, to their narcissism, because it requires this, response, this competition in the real world. So this tactic of finding fault with other men, of attacking other MGTOW, of saying, he is not a real MGTOW, we are the real MGTOW, it's bullshit. It's feminism. It is the tactic of the resentful, entitled, blue pill, cucked, simp, mangina who isn't willing to work his way in the system. We do this, but you don't live in it. You recognize it, you work your way through it, you apologize for it, and then you start producing real work. You don't stay there attacking people's reputations. So hopefully by recognizing this tendency, this behavior, this tactic, you as a man going your own way, you as a person going your own way, can protect yourself a little better from this, can recognize this, can separate yourself from this, and you don't have to be as damaged by it as we were by it. I hope that helps. I'll talk about it more in the future. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate. Check me out on Patreon. Oh, and I should be able to start doing live streams in about 2.5 weeks or so. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, everyone.